My name is Tia Newby. I'm a dancer originally from Nashville, Tennessee. I think in the dance world itself, in the material form of dance, um, it's really hard to find a space for yourself. I'm just speaking from my experience because people can tell you that you're talented and they're the best dancer that you've seen all day. But at the end of the day, it's so hard to book a job, find an agent. It was always very hard for me to go the commercial route. I always felt like I had to be very concert. But my heart is very commercial. I love doing commercial things and I love that side of dance, but like there's so many missed opportunities just because of the way that I look, just because I'm black, or especially if you are a little heavier. There was one point in my dance career where I had gained some weight and I really struggled then. I'm just gonna tell you a little story about how I finally got into how I actually got into the program at the University of Arizona, because when I applied originally, I did not get in. But something that I've always been told is just like, as a black woman, that I was gonna have to work at least 4 times harder than everyone else. And I feel like it's even worse when you're a little heavy set, when you look a little different. Because when I gained a lot of my weight, I went from working 4 times harder to about 8 times harder to get half of what I had, or half of what I have now. And I was just as good back then as I was now. The only difference was the way that I looked. And I think it hurts a lot when it's not really judged upon your talent, and it's judged upon the way that you look solely. That is so hurtful. It's really demonizing to you, but that's dance. That's that's literally dance in a nutshell. So I feel like this story, paints a really good picture about Black experiences and how much harder we have to work to achieve our goals, which people don't believe. They're like, what? No, crazy. But like, lived it, experienced it, never want to go through it again. So, I was going through a few things, and so I'd gained some weight. I'm Black. So those are the things that are stacking up against me. Where I was at in my life at that point, I needed a new environment. So my brother had gotten into the University of Arizona, and I was like, I'm going to go with my brother. So he's like, okay, make your audition tape, because I already made mine. So I made my audition tape, and granted, at this point in my life, I'd never been really rejected from anything. So I was like very confident in my skills and my talents and my capabilities. Never doubted my dancing before in my life until this moment when I got the call that I hadn't been accepted into the program. So the director told me that my technique at the time wasn't up to par with everyone else's, but the jazz portion of my audition was good enough for me to take the major level classes. So I was like, okay, this is my in. I'm going to prove what I got. Bam. And I'm going to get into this program. So we fly all the way to Arizona, and it's the first day of classes. I'm very anxious, very scared, very nervous, just because I think that at this point, my skills aren't up to par. I'm not as good as everybody else, and I haven't even like walked in the room yet. I haven't done any of that. So I'm already doubting myself. And then I go into the room, and I'm like, I'm just going to take this class. I'm going to take this little jazz class, and I'm going to have a good time, because there are other prospective majors also in the school, and I'm meeting them, and I'm like, okay, all right, I see I'm not the only one. So that made me feel a little bit better. But as the other prospective majors started getting into the program and I wasn't, I was very concerned, because I had been taking classes with all these people, and I'd realized that my skills were just as good as theirs. I was just as talented. So at this point, I'm Like, what? Are you kidding me? I can't get into this program because I had students coming up to me every day. I had faculty coming up to me and just being like, you should be in this program. And I don't understand why you're not. Come to find out, because we get a few meetings in, because the other prospective majors have had their meetings and they're like, oh, we're in the program. And I had had all my meetings and it's like, no, maybe you should try something else. No, I don't think this is for you. Maybe you just be a minor. And I was like, no. So I'm not a major or a minor at this point. I'm just a student at the university. I don't have any direction but dance. And I was going to make the director see that. Something that I learned from my brother that I will take with me for the rest of my life is that change does not come without inconvenience. And so I had to inconvenience this woman, and I was like, you're going to let me into this school. You're going to let me into this program because I'm deserving of it, and I know that I am. So we keep going through the year. I'm being put in different classes. I'm taking as many as I can just to prove that I'm a hard worker and that I was deserving. And it got to a point where I was extremely frustrated because everyone had seen me perform at this point. I had gotten into pieces. I had gotten into pieces in shows, and I wasn't in the program at all. I wasn't affiliated with the program. I just took classes. But people were telling me every day that I needed to be a major. So we get to the end of the year, because it ends up taking me an entire year. And I asked one of my modern professors, because everybody's asking, okay, is it time to move up? Like, where should I be placed? So I go up to ask to be placed because I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm not a major, I'm not a minor. And her response was on the lines of, we'll see about that. And it literally took them talking about me in a faculty meeting to get me into the program, because she really did not want to let me into the program because of the way that I looked, because I was heavier and I was black. And it just, that didn't fit into the view of the program at the time. But eventually, I was accepted into the school, and I really do think that my acceptance changed a lot of things. I think it just takes believing in yourself, because people will tell you no every single day of your life. Your family, your friends, people that you don't expect will tell you no and that you can't do it. And that is far from the case.